All right. So let's go to Trump and a bunny.
You don't mind when the enemy is weak, but that enemy is strong. Not so strong like they were about a month ago. I can tell you, in fact, right now, they're not too strong at all.
That's the war bunny. It comes out whenever we're talking about war. Don't with the war bunny. Anyway, so an American F-15 airman gets shot down over Iran, survives injured and alone, hiding in the mountains for a day and a half, living off the land without so much as a Netflix password. Hundreds of miles from the nearest Starbucks and its life-giving Wi-Fi. All while the Iranians are hunting him like he's a goat who knows how to keep a secret. So what do? We send in SEAL Team 6. We run a deception campaign to convince the enemy he's already gone. We launch airstrikes on anyone getting too close. And when some of our own aircraft can't get out, we blow them up. Yeah. Then we rescue the guy. Yeah. Hey, come on. It wasn't just me. But talk about the immense cost and risk to rescue just one American. Could another country do that? The French can't even rescue Macron from his wife. But do any of these countries have those values baked in? Hell, our enemies ask their men to blow themselves up. Listen to former CENTCOM Commander General Frank McKenzie sum it up perfectly.
We did, in fact, lose a couple of aircraft in that mission. But I would just tell you, it takes a year to build an aircraft. It takes 200 years to build a military tradition where you don't leave anybody behind. You take the aircraft trade any day in a situation like this.
That's what we believe in. Time-honored values like loyalty, sacrifice, and blowing up. What a change from how the military had to operate under the last guy, when the only sense of duty was in Joe Biden's pants. Yet, we're still hearing some on the left whine about the cost of the rescue, and yet, if it's funding for undocumented trans men getting abortion, money's no object. Makes me wonder, have they ever really had to rescue anything? Like cities, minorities, children? Because that's their wheelhouse, right? Yet look at them. When you call 911, they send a social worker instead of a cop. They strand millions of travelers just to make a political point. They fill women's locker rooms and bathrooms and prisons with more perverts than a strip club offering a free lunchtime buffet. If you gave a Democrat a choice between saving a teenage girl or the bearded creep leering at her in a restroom, who do you think they'd rescue? You know the answer, because they boast about it. Democrats allowed cities to get overrun with criminal illegal aliens while ignoring the women who pay the price for it. And the one time they did try a rescue, it was an illegal preying on these women. Look at the military under Biden. For 4 years under Joe, they targeted words, what troops were saying and reading, and we needed to be rescued from that. Then in comes Trump, and so do real-world priorities. It's no longer promoting pronouns, it's protecting America. Hell, the Dems wouldn't even rescue us from one of their own, Joe Biden. They knew he was done and still kept him in charge. But perhaps the Dems never rescued anyone because it made no sense. After all, a man who ties a woman to a railroad track doesn't untie her when the train approaches. But this rescue also reveals another difference. Here you have people who hope for the best and feel great relief when the Yank is rescued. Then you have those who hope for the worst and feel nothing because it didn't go the way they preferred, which is driven by Trump hate, their filter for everything. Look, in war, we don't know anything, but we fill those gaps of uncertainty with hope. We look at what Trump's done before and what our military is capable of. Our faith isn't blind. It's based on past demonstrations of swift and definitive action. But if your baseline is derangement, what do you fill your uncertainty with? Hopeful pessimism. You need it to go wrong to support your hatred for Trump. Oh, they will gripe, oh, sure, you win the battles, but you're losing the war, even though they never met a war they couldn't lose, including the war on control top pantyhose. But then, what are the metrics of winning if it's not battles? If it's time, fair enough. But so far, time has been on our side. And it's not our problem if you're on the other. Let's welcome tonight's guest. She talks so fast, her words need seatbelts. Outnumbered co-host Emily Capano. Our advertisers love this guest because he makes our viewers look forward to commercials. Actor, writer, and comedian Jamie Lissa. She's a lightning rod for critics and for lightning. New York Times bestselling author and Fox News contributor Kat Tipp. And they call him the estate tax because he screws a lot of widows. Former NWA World Champion and host of the Planet Howard podcast, Taurus. Emily, how psyched were you when you heard the story? What you've been calling the Easter miracle on your Sunday morning religious podcast, Mornings with Emily.
With Emily. Look, I mean, I don't think I will ever have the words clearly to convey the amount of prayers that were answered in that moment. And Friday is good because Sunday's coming, and God is good indeed. And that was an Easter miracle. What I loved also was Director Ratcliffe's comments when he was talking about, they were debriefing and we were learning more about this, frankly, miraculous and an incredible event. That he talked about the continued valor and the skill, the courage, unmatched, obviously, by all of our servicemen and women, the CIA, the agency, everyone. And it's unmatched on the battlefield. And they flawlessly executed this super daring mission. But he said, you know what, though? But none of that matters. And all of it goes out the window without a commander-in-chief that has the political courage to put this into action. Mm-hmm. That finally we have a president. Finally, we have a president that has the backs of the military as they do his. And here's the thing. We also finally have a commander-in-chief that when he says, we will come for you and we will leave no man behind, we can actually believe him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Jamie, I'm sure you've thought about this many times when you're alone in your tiny apartment. If you were caught behind enemy lines, would anybody try to rescue you?
Aw.
I'd come get
Erica
you.
would.
I'd be there.
Yeah, we're there.
Wow, that was really nice. Thank you, Tyrus. I was thinking about your monologue, and I think I also feel bad for SEAL Team 7.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, like, they're watching 6 complete all these missions, and they're like, why'd you guys make us put all our on again? Damn it.
I don't understand. It's always 6.
It's always 6. They get it all done. It must be cool to be part of an organization like the military, America, that does not leave anyone behind. It's very different like that here, Greg.
Yeah.
You don't even hold the elevator door for me.
Yes.
Thank goodness, though, Emily said, thank goodness it was Trump who was in charge, because from everything I read, it really seems like they got him just in time. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Biden, he barely made it to the toilet in time.
But although he was often rescued from the toilet.
He was often.
That's where they sent in SEAL Team 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was on the fly, and sometimes it is. Oh, a little toilet humor. Very little toilet humor, Kat. Does seem straight out of a movie, doesn't it?
Okay, yeah. No, it does. I mean, because as this was happening, I was just imagining, and I don't think it's possible to imagine the amount of bravery that it takes to go behind enemy lines to get so. I mean, can anybody even imagine that? Can you even imagine what a stone cold psycho, as a compliment, you would have to be to go be like, yes, I will go, because I get really scared when I see you walking back from the bathroom and you look like you're in kind of a weird mood. And I would argue that this is at least twice as bad as that.
But you know what?
It's just amazing. Like, to think that we are the same species as those people who are that brave to go in there and save that man's life like that is incredible, and it's inspiring for everybody.
Yeah. Now, Tyrus, Kat brings up an interesting question that I just wrote down. Is bravery a sign of no fear, or is bravery you have the same amount of fears, but you do it anyway?
You just face it.
Yeah.
We all have the same, it's fight or flight.
Yeah.
And you just face it. But I think, and I don't think anyone can top, honestly, what Kat just said about the military. So I won't even have to talk about it because you just killed it. And again, that was a compliment. But I think we need to give some flowers here to President Trump, because that decision was his presidency. You understand, if one person would have died,
Yes.
what this news cycle would have been. If one of those pilots didn't get over there, they'd be screaming war crimes, they'd be screaming all this. And today he did the thing that this is, and I knew they knew it was his win, because all they could talk about was his language.
Yes.
Did you hear what he said? I right heard what he said. And I'll tell you why. See, the thing, and I think it's like it was so uncouth, and that's not traditional and presidential. See, the thing about me is that I've noticed people who cuss are telling it straight. Mm-hmm. So I have a president that speaks the same language that I do. So I know when he's telling the truth and when he's keeping it real, opposed to the eloquent lines that we get all the time. And I'm going to quote the president. I think he said about 4 times today, which is
Yeah.
But to me, that he was willing to put his entire career, his own team were like, the risk isn't worth, it's too big of a risk. And he went with his gut. And that, as leadership, I've said it a long time, that's the difference between being great, is you do things for the people, regardless of what it does for you politically. And that's a perfect example of it.
Yeah, and I got to move on. But you're going to hear from the Dems and liberals and whatnot saying, but the polls don't show a bump from him saving that person. It's like, he actually doesn't really give a He loves good polls, but he doesn't really care if it works or not, poll-wise. That makes sense?
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.